There he is. He's wearing the stolen combat suit.
Hey you! I don't know if you noticed, but I'm slightly outnumbered here. Can you help me out?
I can't say I'm too fond of these bastards myself.
If I had to choose a peak for Flash RPGs, this would be it. Looking back at all the games I played in my childhood, a constant question I ask myself is, do these games actually hold up, or is that just the nostalgia talking? I definitely remember thinking that these were some of the greatest things ever when I was younger, but now it's more like, yeah, this was pretty fun, this one part is kinda awkward. This is fairly common when you revisit things you like after a long period of time. It's rare for something to hold up to your childhood perception of it. Sonny is definitely in that rarity tier. These two games are awesome. The opening cutscene was not something I expected to be so professional. I don't really know how to properly describe it. It's still just still frames, but the art, voiceover and music seem like something a good indie studio of today would produce. I was kinda shocked by how good Sonny's music actually is. It didn't feel that memorable to young me. I clearly didn't develop any proper musical taste at that point. David Orr was the man that did most of the music for Crin's games. He did some work here and there, but his musical activities seems to have slowed down heavily after 2017, the year the remake came out. Well, that's too bad. The overall art of the game is pretty good. The models in combat seems to be an upgraded version of what was in the second Sinjin game, but I find the portrait art to be the most appealing for some reason. It's heavily stylized, a combination of shapes, lines and colors that look almost random, but form into faces and people. Chunks of the face is covered by an impossible shadow. Looking at it from a distance, you would think it's just a jumble of shades, but it blends together well. The first game's portraits were a bit rough, but Sonny 2's were perfect. It's a very unique aesthetic. It's kinda like what the concept of a vague memory would look like drawn out on paper. Trying to remember someone's face but you're not too sure of the shape, and the lines get kinda mixed together, but you can still tell what's genuinely happening. It uses the part of your brain that fills in the blanks to its full advantage. It looks rather gritty, but the story itself is surprisingly lighthearted. I mean, it's kinda half and half. You can have a workers' revolution just happening, but everybody there has an exaggerated accent.
I can't afford to feed my kids anymore.
Speaking of which, I never noticed that Sonny kinda has a British accent.
Oh, brilliant. That doesn't sound painful at all.
As we all know, being British automatically makes you 22% more evil. So can we really trust Sonny? The first game has 3 main areas. The tutorial zone is the ship, where you're taught the basics by the blind guy that revived you. Combat is based around the wheel. You have 8 slots to put skills in and a lot of skills to choose from. Generally, left side is physical attacks and right side is magical attacks, and the middle is a mix of buffs, passives, and heals. The class you pick in the beginning determines what stats you get on level up. You know the deal. Very few attacks in this game just do damage and nothing else. Almost everything has a secondary effect. Magic Bolt decreases defense for a small number of turns. Lightning Ball dispels a number of buffs depending on skill level. Sunder decreases defense for a large number of turns. This blood skill damages over time and decreases the enemy's strength stat. Even the basic heal can cleanse a debuff at its lowest level. You only have 8 limited slots on your wheel, but you aren't limited to only one of each ability. Certain skills can be put on the wheel multiple times. This can be done to play around cooldowns, and a couple of skills are based around this concept. The mana system is slightly different from usual. It's called focus here, and your maximum focus starts at 100 and most of the time it will stay at 100. You have a large selection of equipment to choose from, and you can mix and match very easily, even if you do look silly doing so.
It's my ass-kicking outfit, bitch!
This system has a surprising amount of depth to it. Even if you're a physical attacker, it's well worth your time to invest some points into lightning or healing, as buff dispel and debuff cleanse are always useful. Even if you're a magical attacker, the physical side of the tree has access to a stun far earlier than the magical side. You can invest that early and respec later. Combat itself is mostly snappy, even if the animations are simple here. In the late game, there are some awkward pauses as the extra effects and numbers from all the passives and debuffs kinda stack. The sound effects for the attacks are very well done. It's fitting and gives weight to each strike. The setting of the story is a zombie apocalypse, but you play as a zombie that has maintained its intelligence, not without some losses however. Sonny doesn't remember anything. The zombies have likely been around for a while, as the ZPCI is a corporation that specializes in the elimination of zombies. Zombies have been around long enough that humanity has decided to monetize their existence. The fact that Sonny is an intelligent zombie is treated as a kind of neat occurrence and nothing more.
Hey, look at that. That one just talked. So what?
Fighting through most of the ship gets us to a squad of these guys. ZPCI are basically anti-zombie PMCs, and like most PMCs, they have little care for civilian casualties.
Take them out, boys. We don't need any witnesses.
What?
Lewis gets sniped and we beat them down. He gives us a tape and we ride off the ship as helicopters swarm it. We arrive at a beach that for some reason has a bunch of ghost samurais and ninjas. So that means that A, I guess the ship was currently the coast of Japan, and B, I guess ghosts are also just a thing here. Oh yeah, magic is just casually real in this world. The setting seems really modern, but magic is just a thing people have and swords are common weapons. Fighting through the spirits and ice zombies, Sonny meets Verodux. Weird name, but he's a bro. Like Sonny, he's also an intelligent zombie. We help him with his 3v1 and he joins us. He's your only party member for the main part of Sonny 1. As a kid, I had no idea you could change what he had equipped. I think that's why I never beat this game as a 10-year-old. Very powerful, is the main healer and a good support. If he does the correct move, that is. You can't control your allies. It's a sign of the times and can get rather nerve-wracking. They can create these situations where it feels a bit out of your control. It's Sonny's most notable flaw. I mean, there are some other really minor ones, but unless I want to make this thing too long, they aren't really worth getting into. Actually wait, I'll give one example. Okay, so there's this weird maybe glitch where a Psy can suddenly perform 2 actions in a row. Most battles will do the standard RPG thing, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. But sometimes you'll go 1-2, 1-2, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. A mid-battle switch up and someone gets to go twice in a row. It seems to happen at random, but Sonny consistently gets a double attack in the boss fight of the ship area. It doesn't happen that often, and the same number of turns are given out either way. Anyway, enemy AI is surprisingly good, as in they will often go for the person with the lower defenses and focus them down.
Focus fire. Everyone take the same target.
We fight through the beach and get to Warlord Ishiguro, and we beat up a ghost and steal his armor. I think we just committed like defensive grave robbing. The next area is a mountain valley filled with fantasy shamans. Oh, and golems exist.
Well, would you look at that? The last shaman. How sad. Let's kill it.
Ooh, careful there, man. You're getting a bit too British here. We put down some guy's reinforcements and then we go and pretend to be those reinforcements to this paladin guy. He takes down the Baron,
Scratchy bitch.
mostly by himself, as we watch it go down. We aren't going to do a thing to that HP bar anyway. After the paladin is exhausted from the fight, we turn on him, and then we beat him, and then we farm him. So that's the main part of the first game. This isn't the actual end of this game though. There's a 4th extra area with a bunch of challenge bosses and 4 new party members to choose from. The bosses here all have their own gimmicks. The first one requires you to perform a cleanse or a dispel at a crucial moment. Omen requires you stun at the correct times. Totally not Gordon Freeman here has an unreal health pool and will heal a million HP, so you have to use this one ability to invert all healing and damage. And the last boss is, oh hey, it's Sinjin. You have to keep his focus below the max, or he'll use a move that will blow you up. Respecking is basically needed in the final area. That was fun. Felt a bit short. I basically consider Sonny 1 and 2 to be a singular game anyway. Sonny 2 is a much larger game. There are some all-round improvements and a near-complete overhaul to the skills, as in 2.5 new skill trees were added. The class you pick here determines what skill tree you're getting. Biological is the most straightforward class. Half of its abilities were carried over from Sonny 1. The psychological tree has the most complicated and niche skills. Half of its abilities have drawbacks. The hydraulics class is an ice-themed caster. You can choose between a mixed attacker that scales off of focus, or you can go all in on the ice type theming and stack 5 different debuffs and hyperscale into the late game. Instinct has replaced the magic stat. What's the difference? Just a name. The art has been upgraded but stayed recognizable. I love the portraits. Every single physical attack in Sonny 1 had the exact same animation. Sonny 2 has several. We have a little bit of control over our allies now. The story takes place a few days after the Paladin fight. Sonny is still looking for a tape player when suddenly a zombie lady swipes it off of him. She cuts through a prison for some reason and we give chase. Zombies in this world seem to have really become a new normal, huh? The dead are coming back, but people still have time to operate a giant prison where they experiment on prisoners.
Please, let me
Taste your blood water.
After platypusing 2 different Doofenshmirtz, we catch up to Zombie Lady and get the tape back. She then goes down an elevator with a random corpse. We played the tape in the car and it's just a random song.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Damn it!
Okay, so I always thought that the Zombie Lady just had a decoy tape on hand and just gave Sonny a fake one. But no, the tape is never mentioned again past this point. Sonny and Veradux takes the car and drives to a snowy mountain. We meet the Resistance Forces, a group of people that want to cure whatever is making the zombies, and one of them joins our party. Apparently zombies make so much money that certain higher up people actively don't want a cure and has been sabotaging the efforts so hard the resistance had to form in order to counteract them.
assassinations, kidnappings. Someone didn't want us to continue our research.
To pass through the area, we have to take down this cult full of LARPers. The cult leader was Baron from Sonny 1.
Ah, it's you!
He has a crap ton of health. His cultist comes up to us. One of them says his name is Carl.
It's true, Carl. It's true.
And they stopped LARPing and leave. Our main goal now is to get to a place called Utopia, and it seems like that exactly one train functions. It's a train full of ghost performers and 2 homeless men. We exorcise the ghosts and the homeless.
Oh, that hurt.
Wait a sec, that wasn't a zombie.
And we crash the train into the next area, the cave. The cave is full of silly stuff. Crystal gorillas, a giant roach named Greg, a Monty Python reference, Sonny, and at the very end...
I made a look, there's still people down here. Yeah, I'll give these guys some masks. If they breathe in any more of this stuff, they're done for.
Oh.
The air in here, it feels different.
We were just hard tripping in the cave. That's hilarious. The last 2 areas were definitely filler arcs, but they were still enjoyable. The last main area is Utopia. Zombie Lady is back and finally drops the body that she was carrying this whole time and starts a workers' revolution. We fight through a lot of riot cops and royal guards to get to the city council. Zombie Lady joins us along the way, but I never really used her. We strike down the bourgeois, and the people just then realize that Sonny was a zombie.
Wait a minute!
They have enough common sense to figure out that a zombie with intelligence is basically just someone with a skin condition. I mean, we have those in real life. A further continuation of the story gets teased by a shadowy roundtable, but unfortunately, unless you count the Sonny 3 fan project, this particular story was never really followed up on. Like Sonny 1, there is an extra area full of some challenge fights. The final boss was disappointingly easy compared to everything. Honestly, I was hoping for Sinjin again. Overall, yeah, this was very good. Sonny was one of those flash games where you couldn't believe that it was free, which is relevant because Sonny 1 and 2 are being released as the Legacy Collection on Steam, right before this video, I assume. I already played through both games to get the footage, but I will be buying it at some point because I probably will play it again and I might as well support the guy. There's a small modding community for Sonny, and I'm hoping that if the Legacy Collection sees some success, the modding community can grow. Although that's likely too hopeful. The Sonny remake doesn't even have a workshop. Oh yeah, let's talk about the remake. The 2017 remake has been sitting on mixed reviews for a while now, and I agree with that assessment. Okay, let's start with what's good. Music is still amazing. That's what's good. Everything else is kinda so-so. The art, I mean, it's well done, but like, some pieces do seem a bit out of place. The bigger problem is, there's like very little animations. Sonny used to be able to swing his weapon, but now he just bops forward a bit. I'm guessing it was way harder to have the more detailed designs have animations. Equipment no longer shows up on the character. It's a minor loss here, but a sad one. Build variety is basically gone. 4 slots down from 7, and each area almost always has a clear best in slot item for everyone. Stats have been simplified a bit. You don't really invest your stats anymore. That is now completely automatic. Strength and Instinct got merged, so magic and physical attacks are now the same thing. Speed now determines how often you attack in a fight. Fights are no longer regular turn-based, and focus as a mana mechanic is gone. Everything is based around ability cooldowns and how fast you can fill this action bar. Fights have multiple waves now, and there are far too many main story fights. The pacing of the fights are a bit off. It has weird camera movements and a ton of slight pauses. Some bosses are kind of damage spongy. One new combat mechanic, mid-battle evolutions. You can give one of your skills a random additional effect for that battle. It's an interesting enough mechanic. Skills are a bit different. It's the same 8-slot wheel, but you can't put multiple abilities on it anymore. And passive skills now have to be on the wheel in order for them to be activated. And for some reason, it's far more inconvenient now to move the skills around. The initial skill tree looks like it has way less depth than Sonny 2's, but that's just the first one. After certain points in the story, Sonny can unlock mutations, 5 mutations to choose from, and you can only unlock 2 in any given playthrough. You can mix and match any skills from any mutations. Once you have all of that combined, the remake skill trees still has less depth than what was in Sonny 2. Yeah, most of the abilities are rather unremarkable, and leveling up skills doesn't give you as much as it used to. Once you unlock all the skills you need, level ups start to feel empty. Also, each mutation is just a palette swap. Changing the poses would have gone a long way here. I will say, there's a good amount of variations in the enemies you fight. Not all of them fit into the setting, but I do like some of them. Although it does sometimes cross over into being frustrating. The issue is kind of exaggerated by the fact that you still can't control your allies. Fights would be way less annoying if they didn't feel as out of your control as they do now. The story starts off very similar to Sonny 1, but trails off to do its own thing, maybe vaguely following the guidelines of Sonny 2, and I couldn't get myself to be too invested in it. It's not like bad, it's just very Okay, so Sonny, Lewis, Veradux, and the Baron are the 4 characters that's been carried over, so I'm just gonna note the differences they have. Sonny is now a red-headed Brit, but is still just as much as a blank slate as before. Lewis is no longer blind and was actually a scientist called Sergey. The tape contained a viral code for the super zombie serum. Veradux is no longer a zombie.
Sonny, to them we're vermin. We're monsters.
He's a cyborg now, as he was formerly a disabled veteran, and the power armor-like suit he's wearing allows him to walk and fight again. An intelligent zombie like Sonny is now rare and a big deal to the plot. Baron is the boss of the 7th area, king of the underground city and the origin of all zombies. Hundreds of years ago, he was trying to revive his wife through a combination of magic and science and started the whole zombie apocalypse. This is the first time magic has been acknowledged in Sonny, and zombies casually being around for hundreds of years is insane. If zombies were around for hundreds of years, they would have been absorbed into daily life within a couple of decades at most. Canada as we know it is 157 years old. Zombies have been around longer in this world than Canada has been in ours. Some of the concepts sound interesting, but if you play through the game, you just kind of lose interest by the way they're presented. I think the issues of the remake can be summarized by just saying, wow, this is kind of dated for a 2017 game. Sonny 1 and 2 age far better than the remake. All that being said, I don't think it's that bad. It's around like a 6 out of 10 maybe. I would heavily prefer to play Sonny 1 and 2 again. Those 2 games are as good as you remember it being. Buy it if you have to spare money. Next will be a somewhat shorter video on a man with a straw hat.